You shouldn't laugh, people, but it's bad. Innit? Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for the brand new video and we're here to talk about a game that we well and truly stole a point to, people. Genuinely, the Mount Olympus hasn't seen such a faff since Prometheus was cutting about with our flame troops as we went ahead and put one of the worst 45 minutes I've ever seen in European football. And I'm talking progress, I'm talking everything. I'm talking Limassol for a couple of weeks ago. We topped it right there, but we had a man in between the sticks that could use these. And more important, I'm pointing to these, but you can't see it, but I'm pointing to these troops, and he kept us in it as Jack Butland once again shows he is well and truly our best summer signing and arguably one of the best signings we've made for a long time, as the keeper was a keeper and saved left, right and centre and gave us a platform to dig in the trenches, fight, see who's in the fight, see what they've got, see guys rise for expectations you never thought they had, the likes Sima playing completely against his grain and against his type, battling and fighting for the cause, becoming a player like a Joe Aribo, being able to play anywhere. You know what I mean? He put in arguably the best left back performance I've seen a Rangers player play for about 4 season strips. As Sima bought in as we dug in, and arguably if luck went our way on the end of the scale, we almost stole all 3 trips. But aye, we are here to talk about Sparta Prague nil, Rangers nil. That again, if you asked any single Rangers fan on this planet who was watching that first half, if you would have took it after 35 minutes, you'd have absolutely been laughing your way to the bank. You know, I find myself in a very unusual position as I feel like I'm on the opposite side of this situation, because I've seen this many times, Strips. I finally know what it's like to support the likes of Ross County at Ibrox when they come there and their goalie's having a world day and somehow, some way they manage to nick a point against all odds. I know what that feels like now. Didn't like it, but I'll take it on this European night, because before we get lost in the game recap or not, if you're wanting to know how the group is unfolding, that point right there that Phil has managed to masterclass, and I will say masterclass a point, because everything, if you just looked at that on paper and even looked into the game in the first 20 minutes, you will know that was heavily gone in Sparta's favour. Everything was no left backs, the mess, the squad's in, unfit this, boys will only be able to play 50, 60 minutes. There were so many holes in our team, and Clement had today some real patchwork. Had to play a formation we've not played since Gio was here nearly 2 years ago, but he managed to get it air the line, and that point right there leaves the group exactly like this. With the way it's now gone, we now obviously have to play Sparta at home, we now have to play Limassol at home. This has been a very successful point, ladies and gentlemen. It could be a massive point when it all is said and done. So I'm not going to bury my head in the sand and pretend that it was a brilliant performance, but it was a brilliant result considering all the circumstances that was going on behind the scenes, where we are as a team, the mess that we currently are regarding registration for Europe. Yes, it is a great result in that aspect. And I have already touched on Butland, who was absolutely sensational. You hear his name a lot. Troops, here's a wee fun drinking game for you, right? If you're going to be watching the rest of today's video, drink every time you hear the name Butland starting for now. But aye, Sima as well, and it brought me back to, you remember Joe Aribo under Steven Gerrard when Gerrard came out in his presser and he said there's very few players that can play like that, you know what I mean, that can literally go anywhere and put in a good performance. I knew Sima was a good player going forward. I never knew Sima had what he had the day, again playing in an unnatural position, left wing back if you want, left midfielder, 3-5-2, whatever you want to call it. He was there and he had to go back and he made, I think, 4 or 5 interceptions and 5 and 6 tackles. That's something you'd be proud of, being a natural fullback, but he's out there being an attacking player his entire career, and he's came out and gave that to the badge. That's about as unselfish as it comes. So Butland will get a lot of the plaudits, but for me the real standout in terms of outfielders was one man and one man only, and that was Sima. Because if you take him out of there with the lack of energy and legs the Dessers and the Lammers put in to this game, that could have been bad, man. I was getting UEFA vibes here, because it felt like Rangers were doing to 9 men, I should say, but Sima trucking in and doing the job of 2 men kept the ship from sinking all the way down. especially in that first half. But I have started off on a positive note and I've gave a couple praise. Now we need to actually speak about the game, troops, and translate into the game recap, as Clement came out and admitted before the game that he was having to go 3-5-2 because of the mess that was left before him. Again, never went into details about this, but we all know the way that Bale screwed us over, only registering one left back for the cup competition. So we went into this game and we played a 3-5-2, you know, the formation we got told and got promised we would be playing about a year ago under Bale. We finally see it in the second game under Clement. That was quite ironic, as again, Goldson's played in one before. You've got obviously John Souttar, who played free at the back a lot of his career, both at Dundee United and obviously at Hearts, and Ben Davies, who's played free at the back in his career as well. So I was pretty excited about that, and you know, I thought to myself, it's nice having three centre backs, because what it gives you is a bit more stability again every time a ball comes into the mixer. But also, troops, I thought to myself, right, set piece wise, we finally have three centre backs on some real threat and aerial ability in there to overload the middle and maybe start being dangerous for set pieces. Then I remembered I support Rangers Football Club, and we had one of the centre backs taking the corners. I can't do this today, man. We had Ben Davies take out swingers. You know, the missus was showing me a trend on TikTok the other day about the Roman Empire and how every single guy seems to think about it, and that was the question. Well, look at that picture right there, troops, because every single Rangers fan on the planet, that there is our new Roman Empire, because I will never, ever forget I watched Ben Davies whipping corners. And you know what the best part is? Two of them was probably better than what Barisic and Tav's put in 3 years. Troops, I can't do it. I just wish that. But moving away from one of the only 3 corners we got all afternoon, and that was our first one after a sustained bit of pressure, we can't speak about Sparta Prague versus Rangers without speaking about the name of Jack Butland, as he just started the way he's been his entire Rangers career. Massive for us, well and truly carrying the defence on the back. Now, the first time he was called into action is just really poor for Lunny. Ends up getting nutmegged, but what's even worse, troops, is a defender, John Souttar, standing there just watching his man not only run by him the first time, but then just stands and watches him run. It's called a 1-2, John. I know we didn't play much fast attacking football, we haven't done before Clement obviously came in to the football club, but you usually pass and you look to receive it. He just stood there watching it. The boy ran through, it looks like a goal, but Jack Butland with a phenomenal big paw throwing at it. It then drops them about 8 yards out. It's another shot and he saves it once again. A dirty double to start the game, and I thought, right, surely we're going to settle into it. Right, we've had the saves. Butland's had his moments. Now we'll start to play, and it's got to be said, we just never. And I think you could see Clement's reaction at the sidelines, how animated he was. He was screaming, he was demanding, he was wanting the front two to press, but when you've got Desslers and Lammers and you're asking them to press, it's almost laughable, troops, as Sparta had so much time on the ball. They're 10-15 yards every single time they touch the football, and again, that's no down to the way Clement set them up. He's put the guys in the right position. It's about the individual talents actually performing, and some of them were just miles off it. As again, Desslers and Lammers, the lack of pace, especially in European football, was as glaring could be, as they just passed round us all afternoon. And we were so slow going forward, and we were so slow at the back, as every long ball just seemed to beat John Souttar and Connor Goldson and Ben Davies. It was infuriating to actually watch. Thank God again for Sima, by the way, as he came back and he helped out the defence a lot, winning tackle after tackle after tackle, or aye, could have been a massacre in that first half. Well, didn't you believe me, troops? We'll continue watching for a few moments, because one of the few times in the opening 30 minutes we got a touch on the football after a barrage of shots that was either blocked by the defenders or went over the bar or deflected out for a corner. Raskin got in the ball. Sima's busting. He's won the ball. He's passed it to Raskin. He's busting down to the left. Raskin hits one of the worst passes I've ever seen, as he just kicks the ball out, and then 30 seconds later he's clearly inside his own head about how bad that pass was, because he gets the ball, he dallies, they take the ball from, they play it through and force Jack Butland into another ridiculous save, and that's him carrying and saving the blushes of everyone's fan favourite and Raskin. That boy's head wasn't in the game in that first half, and we'll speak about that as we get to the second, because I don't know how you feel, troops, but for me, I feel like Raskin always starts every game poorly, but his natural fitness, I feel like when people start to tire, and I think you really noticed it in this game, as Sparta started to really punch himself out in the second half, Raskin then started to get in the ball, then started to dictate, then started to tackle, then started to intercept. It's just that first half, he was bogging. Man, if we could somehow branch how he plays the longer the game goes on, again, because of his natural fitness with how he starts games, we've really got a gem that we think we've got. But aye, there were very few, if any, pass marks in the opening first half besides Butland, Seema and Todd Cantwell. But I did say if you continue watching, I'll show you how bad the first half was. Well, look at those stats right there, people. It doesn't get much sadder than that, and that really tells you, you know what I mean? They say a picture will tell you 1,000 words. Well, there you go. It's about as one-sided as it gets, and our only one set piece that we had, well, it's someone who's never took a set piece for us take it so we could an outswinger, and it boggles my mind because I've seen people say, aye, but it led to a shot. Aye, because he crossed outside the box and John Lundstrom was 30 yards out, troops. I didn't think Sparta Prague are worried about that, you know what I mean? They might be worried if you've got 3 centre-halves on and you're dropping one in the goalkeeper, but if you want to just loop an outswinging corner to the outside of the box for John Lundstrom to hit a volley, I think that's a win in Sparta Prague's mentality, in my personal opinion. But into the second half we go, and we had our best moment / best bit of play of the entire game, and it's no surprise that Seema again doing the left hand side wins the ball, and then there's a 50-50 opportunity. He's already won the tackle, he sees the boy coming, he knows he's getting nails, but he knows if he throws his foot at it, there's an option to send Todd Cantwell down the left side, and he just takes the Sayre one, passes it to Cantwell then nutmegs not one but 2 people, passes it out to the right hand side, drives forward with the football, hits a phenomenal looping ball into the box for big Dessers, and Dessers stands there watching it like he's just been handed a shite filled nappy. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Man, Dessers, I want to love you, big man, but that there on a European night, just throw a fit at it. If you send it to Mount Olympus, I'll take it, troops, but to stand there and watch shows there is zero confidence and still no bounce for yet a great goal versus Hibs. That's sensational for Cantwell. It deserves better than that, but you see it, he's just second guessing himself because he's got no belief, and that is the type of chances you might be thinking, oh, it's too harsh. No, it's no. Troops, if you want to be a European side, you want to have European results, that's what you take. That's what Morelos took over the years, that's what Cholak took last year to get us to the Champions League, troops. If you want, and if you play up front for Rangers, that is the chances you get. You're not playing the Ross Counties, the St Mirrens and all that, you're going to have 17 shots a game. That's where you make your name in a Rangers shirt, and unfortunately, the big moment was too bright so far for big Dessers. Because where we had our best opportunity, it then brought the best out of us defensively, and that's no something I've said very often, as we get caught in a counter-attack. I say a counter-attack, it's one simple long ball that just beats our defenders. But Ben Davies, who will probably get slaughtered a lot, and he always does, by the fan base, but this is great bit defending. 54th minute, go back and check it if you're rewatching the game. His running, Suter's completely, I don't know where Suter is, go back and watch it, right? Goldie's there, Davies is there, runs in, and he gets a phenomenal block, just throwing his body at it to stop another shot on goal, this time about 6 or 7 yards out. So we nearly had a moment, and we nearly conceded. Right there, that's balance, if you're wondering. 59th minute comes, and that leads to our very first shot on target as Lunny from outside the box cuts inside, hits one with the left. It's easy, but at least it's something progressive. And I thought to myself, round about this period, we started to really get on the ball. Again, Raskin started to take over, and as other people tired, he gets stronger. That's when he starts to come, and that's when the referee just really started to annoy me. And I'm not going to go down the road and say, oh, the referee cost us this, the referee cost us this. We were dreadful in that first half, but when I sit here and look you in the eyes and tell you the referee made some of the wildest decisions I've ever seen in a football game, I truly mean it. There's one where Dessers, right, he kind of falls, but it's Dessers, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Just, you're accepting it at this point. Dessers falls, he gets back up, he falls again, gets back up. This is real. I'm not making up for dramatic effect. But anyway, after the second time I'm falling on his own, by the way, he beats his man, cuts in, sets it, and then the referee's blown for a foul. Because the boy, the defender that's been juked by Dessers cutting inside, has fell. And I'm like, is this not what VAR was included? I thought they get told that, you know what I mean? I sit and watch the English media and the English refs come out and explain their decisions and everything like that when they're sit there. I can't remember the referee's name, I'm kind of blanking on it, but he comes and says, well, this is actually why we do this and why we do this and why we do this. Well, they say if you're not sure about a decision or if it's a goal scoring, let it play out. That's why there's 75 minutes between every offside. That should have been played out because we had a numeral advantage on them, us attacking. The ball was in their box. That's got to be allowed to be played on. Then, if it's a foul, that's why everyone spent all that money on VAR. Am I making any sense? No, probably no, but that was a ridiculous decision by the referee, as Dessler's actually done something, and that's where I feel bad for the laddie. I didn't like taking shots, so I feel like Dessler's gets what Lammers should be getting. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, I know people really like Lammers because he was good in 1.5 games in pre-season, but that boy's a ghost. Dessler's at least puts himself a boot and gets himself involved in things, but he just gets things like that against him. You're like, no wonder the laddie can't do it, because even when he does something right, the referee says he does something wrong, and the referee was dreadful, man. There was one moment as well when Lundstrom wins the ball beautifully with a slide challenge, gets given, he gets booked as well. There's one where Sima takes the ball off him, runs 50 yards with the ball, sprints down. The boy grabs Sima like this. Sima's obviously wrestling back, because what else do you do when someone grabs you like that? Maybe he just wanted to cuddle. Troops. But anyway, they fall down. Then the referee, the foul gets given. Now I know the referee then books Sima for his reaction, but his reaction is justified because somehow the refs watched a boy give Sima a German suplex and give it against him. That there is stinking, and I just wanted to voice my opinion on this Craig Dawson for Wish. Troops, he was bogging. Cutting through the ref BS, however, we did make a sub as Cantwell obviously ran his race. He's still building his way back up. It was great to see, and again he had his moment, beating 3 people, running the length of the park, putting Dessers through. The striker just wasn't good enough on that occasion, and on came Scotty Wright, which I'm no hating, because we badly needed pace. Now my sub would have been Lammers coming off for Scott Wright, so we had anything down the right hand side, as Tavernier was completely nullified, the same way we spoke about in yesterday's preview. They're all wings, they were attacker fullbacks. We needed some help there, and Lammers gave them none. They're just, again, he had one good pass where he played to Raskin, and Raskin ran out the box, but is that enough? Is that enough? Well, the next 2 chances certainly wasn't enough, Troops, as Scott Wright hits one miles over the bar after a great pullback from Sima. Again, the man gets mentioned, and then Lammers hits another in over the bar as well, where he should do a hell of a lot better. But in the 78th, 70/75th minute, he did actually do much better here. Dessers gets off the park, on comes Danilo. We genuinely have a centre forward with a bit of movement that can put the defender under some distress, and it started to create gaps. Again, we're a fit side, or at least some of us are, and it showed with our progressive substitutions, as Lammers gets the big chance. You know what I mean? Dessers missed his chance. Lammers, again, after another Patrick Swayze performance for Ghost, doesn't take his either, as it's a good save by the goalie, but when you look back at it, can we be critical about it? It's kind of straight at him. It should be more in the corner. Maybe I'm just harsh, maybe I'm just fed up, people, but I just feel like they're the moments we used to take when we had those European nights. Now we've got boys. It's nowhere near it. Now, I thought that fantastic save was going to finish me off, especially after Ben Davies took another corner, but it wasn't that, Troops. It was Raskin playing a beautiful through ball after Danilo kind of dummied it to Raskin. Raskin, great ball in to Scott Wright. Scott Wright's played through into the box, and it ends in a foul to Sparta. I'm tired, boss. I'm honestly tired. Now, to be fair, I've not seen it back, but it didn't look like Scott Wright done too much wrong with the actual challenge. But can I just ask you one question? One question genuinely. Why is Scott Wright, who's getting played through into the box, needing to make a challenge anyway? It was like John Suter in the first half. He had 15 yards of space. He had, it would have been Lammers at that point with Dessers there, Cantwell there in the first half. He's took a touch that took him 10 yards and ended up fouling a boy. Why are we so... I mean, I know why. There's no confidence in this team, and that's probably explaining it right there as well. With Scotty Wright knows his situation he's in, and it's just dreadful for him. But you're talking about individual quality. You're talking about needing moments. We had it, despite us roding our luck for a lot of it and stealing the points. Yes, Troops. At one point there were 15 shots on target. 15 shots, sorry, in total to 1 in this game. But again, you start to look at the last 15 minutes. That chance, Lammers' other chance, Scott Wright's other chance, and then Danilo, great bit of play. Scott Wright flicks it in behind. It's a wonderful left-footed volley, but somehow the goalie tips it onto the bar, and you're thinking to yourself, fair enough. Fair enough. If we're getting a draw at this one, that probably sums it up right there. Is nothing Danilo could have done any better. He's hit that about as good as it gets. They just had a Jack Butland moment, if you will, and that truly was the game. That truly was the set. We saw the game out. Oh aye, no, we had to give ourselves one more heart attack as Lunny Tries to play a safe pass, gets punished for it, but ends up winning the ball back. But then we give the ball straight back to them. It then goes down corner goals, and I don't know what he's doing with the football originally. And then he's got to just come and empty the boy, but he kind of pulls out in it just a little bit. He's not wanting to fully commit because he's going to get sent off. The boy skips by him. He's got the tap in, the sweat goal, or he's got an opportunity on Butland. He kind of hesitates. Suter bursts a gut to run in and slide. But then the pass across the middle is absolutely dreadful, and we well and truly steal a point. If that moment didn't happen, I'd be fuming about the way the game ended and the lack of individual quality for the likes of Wright and the Lammers with the chances we had in the last 10 minutes. But the way the very last minute of the game unfolded with them 2-on-1 with the goalie and messing it up, I'm fine to take a point, especially when it leaves the group as the way we've already shown it in today's video. That there is something we can work on the longer that Big Phil gets with this group. I think he's done magnificently well to get us a draw at that game, and shout out to everyone who played today for digging in. It certainly wasn't nice we were doing in the trenches, but people fought, and that's what gets you this win. Jackie Butland, Seema, the two standouts in my opinion. The man of the match discussion is there to be seen. You could arguably give it to both. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on this game. My opinions going in to the weekend is Danilo must start. I don't care if he can only do 70 minutes. Let's start the way we need to start, because his movement provided something completely different to the side, and I want to see him on the park at the same time as Cantwell. The fact that they keep missing each other feels cruel to me, as I feel like there's two of them should work perfectly together. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's my thoughts and opinions in the 0-0. What about you? Let me know down in the comment section below. And as always, I'll be Sage92. Thank you, Phil. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care of yourselves. All the best and bye-bye. I just done a Dessers there. Missed that. Did you see that? See, that's what happens when you watch